everybody. Lovely to see you all again. For those of you who don't know, I am Jill. This is Welcome to Miaou Crafts. This is episode 9 or 10, I think. I can't remember. I should have looked it up before I started. I live in Cambridgeshire in England, and I live with my 2 youngest sons, and I've got 2 older children who live in Edinburgh. This channel is mostly about knitting and crochet, but today I've actually got some other bits and pieces to show you as well. I have got some stitching to show you. So what can I tell you? Oh, I'll tell you what I'm wearing first. So this is my winter frill. I am so pleased with it. This is by Drops Design. I was inspired by the Penrose Knits sweater, and I think it's called the Chunky Souffle. And but she, as the name suggests, used chunky yarn for it. And I had this yarn already, which I decided I want to use for it. And this is a DK yarn. So I couldn't use her pattern, so I went looking for something else to use, and I found the winter frill by Drops Design. Their frill is slightly longer, bigger, but I felt that this was sufficient, and it does go all the way around the back. So I made this a couple of months ago. You'd have seen me making it on the channel, and the finished objects, which I did show you, but I wasn't wearing at the time, and I had a couple of issues with it. And one was, firstly, I hadn't blocked it. I did block it yesterday, and I'm so pleased that I did, because now the frill lies so much better. Before, it was curling up, and I think it looks so much better now that I've done that. The other problem I had, which is a problem I always have with jumpers, is I didn't make the arms long enough. I don't know what it is. I don't even have particularly long arms, and I try it on and I go, oh yeah, that seems about right. So now what I've decided is, if I try a jumper on and it seems about right, I need to add about another couple of inches, I think. Anyway, so this was too short in the sleeves, and it got to the point where I love wearing it. I wear it such a lot, but I was constantly tugging the sleeves down, and it does it really? And because this is quite a high acrylic, in fact I think it might be 100% acrylic, obviously blocking it really wasn't going to make that much of a difference to the size of it. So I decided that I needed to unravel. Fortunately, the sleeves were top down, so I was able to unravel the cuffs, and then I added in, and I think I added in about that much before re-knitting the cuffs. And now the cuffs are a good length. See, before they were sort of there, not nice. I like to have my wrists covered, so I'm really pleased with it now. It feels a lot better. My only complaint about a lot of Drops Designs sweaters, and really this is an easily solvable problem if you think about it when you start. They don't have short row shaping in the back, so the back and the front are equal. And the problem I got with this jumper is I never know which is the front and which is the back. So and also it tends to sit a little bit close to my neck. I like it a little bit looser. So really, if I thought about it, what I could have done is well, firstly, I could sew a label in the back, couldn't I? And then I will always have, the back would always be the same side, if you like. But I could have put some short row shaping in, and I didn't, so mea culpa. But it's something to bear in mind, actually, when you look at Drops Designs. The sweater that I showed you that I made for my youngest last time, the teal coloured one with all the Icelandic designs in, that didn't have any short row shaping at the back either, so the front and the back were the same. But I sewed a label in his, so they could tell which is the front and which is the back. I thought that made life an awful lot easier. So yeah, so that's this. Yeah, very pleased with it. The yarn was from Aldi's Isle of Weirdness. For those of you in countries that don't have an Aldi, I feel very sorry for you because Aldi is great. Lidl is also the same sort of thing as well. They it's quite a low price supermarket, and they always have these aisles down the centre that sell the most random things. So one week you'll go and it'll be horse riding boots, and the next week's it'll be ukuleles, and then the week after that it'll be keep fit dumbbells or something like, you know, it's really, and I'm sure it's not random, but it really does seem very, very random. So anyway, every so often they have craft stuff. They had this yarn. I absolutely love the colour, fell in love with the colour and thought I need to make a sweater out of it. So I used one, but they had big balls like this, and I used one big ball, and then I used a tiny bit of the second ball. So actually this sweater cost me £12 to make, which it's not bad really, is it? But now I've got this huge I've got this huge ball left over now, and I need to do something with it. So I'm sure something will come to me in time. So that's that. What else can I tell you? Oh, so I started a new jumper last time, and that was the Driftwood by Elizabeth Kramer. I'm just reaching down because they're on the floor. And I put a little tag in to show you where I'd got to last time, which is there. In fact, actually, let me just show you this little stitch marker. I love mushrooms. Oh, look. Yes, I love mushrooms. So I got this, and I got this from Crafty Clegg's Creations. She is also a YouTuber. I happened to watch one of her episodes, and she mentioned she had a shop, and I went to go and have a look, and I was like, oh, fellow mushroom toadstool lover like myself. So I got this. As usual, it's not focusing on it, but there you go. No, I can't get it to focus. It's just so unprofessional, this channel. I'm so sorry. I just video it on my phone, and my phone's not great. But anyway, you get the idea. It's my lovely little stitch marker, and also because it's got this little pearl on, it jingles. I quite like that. Anyway, I digress. I can take this out now because as of yesterday, I finished the sweater. I've still got to sew all the ends in, and I've got to add buttons, so it doesn't look fantastic at the moment. But I've used the raspberry colour to do the little button band around the top, and I'll just move away a little bit, and then I can show you. Oh, the colour's not coming out very well on this. It's not as dull as it looks on this. The colours are quite a bit warmer, but I'm really pleased with this. Lovely colours. Needs a block. Look, it's all sort of turning up at the bottom, and as you can see, I've got an awful lot of ends to sew in, so still quite a lot of work to do on that, but I'm really pleased with it, and it fits nicely as well. It's a nice generous size. I had made one, I think I said to you before, I made one a couple of years ago, no, more than that, more like 6 or 7 years ago, and the intervening years have broadened my what can I say? I'm not the size I was for a few years ago. So it's a little bit on the snug side. So I thought, right, it's time I knitted a new one because I really love my Driftwood. So that's it. That one's done. And I was hoping to use up all the yarn I had. Excuse me for disappearing out frame as I'm talking to you. I've still got loads left. Look, that's how much of the raspberry I've got. The grey. I've still got that left of the grey, and I've got that left of the greeny blue colour, and that left of the multi, and I've got a whole one ball and another little bit left of the cream, which is the only thing I had a ball band for. This is Drops Nepal. So that's that, and I'll have to come up with something else to use those ones for, but never mind. I had great fun making it. It was very nice, and actually it was interesting because they're colours that I perhaps wouldn't have chosen if it wasn't for the fact that I just happened to have them. They were all the right weight, they all seem to be the same kind of yarn content. So it's not colours that I would necessarily have chosen, myself if I'd gone into a shop to go and buy them, for example. But I'm so pleased. I'm really, really pleased with the way they came out. So that's that. So works in progress. I think I said to you last time. Now, did I say this to you before or not? I can't remember. I think I did. I think I said that I was planning to make a scarf, a Fair Isle style scarf. And I've been watching YouTuber called Soxy Nana Alice, and she'd made this absolutely beautiful Fair Isle scarf with all her leftover bits of sock yarn, and I just thought, what a brilliant idea. So what I did is I went through my Fair Isle book, 200 Fair Isle designs, and I wrote down all the ones I liked. So I think I've probably picked out most of the ones in the book and just sort of marked them with a post-it and the number on the page of the one I want to actually do. So I think that's probably that one. Yeah, I'm going to, the idea is I'm going to attempt to put all these, so there'll be loads and loads and loads of designs in, and none of them will be repeated. Now I haven't got very far because in the end I actually put it on one side so that I could focus on getting the driftwood finished. As much as I like the idea of flitting from one project to another, I'm a finisher, generally speaking, which probably sounds a little bit mad considering that I had an episode a couple of episodes ago where I went through all the unfinished projects that I had abandoned, and there were a few. But generally speaking, if I like a project, then I will stick with it until the end. And the only sort of exception to that is I always have a pair of socks on the go because they're really good for travel, because it's such a easy thing just to pick up and put down. But generally speaking, I won't have 2 or 3 jumpers on the go. But I did. Anyway, so I've abandoned this, but I am going to go back to it because it is such a nice, fun project to do. But it did require more concentration than perhaps I had initially expected. So it's not mindless TV knitting, however. So anyway, I'll stop waffling and I'll show you what I've done so far. So, I'm all tangled up in bits of yarn. Hang on. Oh, I see that one's stuck in there. Oh, let's just go with it. Right, okay, so this lighting is not the best, but you can see this is at the bottom. So what I've done is I could have done like a provisional cast on, but I'm just going to sew it together at the bottom, to be honest. I'm knitting it in the round so that way I don't have to worry about my floats. But having said which, my floats are quite neat. I'm quite pleased with those. So this is my scarf so far. So I'm actually on my 3rd pattern on here. So I've done grey for the background here, then I've done navy blue here, and then this one's actually got a dark grey background. It looks brown in this light, but believe me, it's dark grey. And then there's sort of 3 different colours of pink, which are going into the, oh gosh, it's a real mess in here. I think the cat might have found it and been playing about in it. I'm not going to pull that out just now. But anyway, you can see I've got started. That one didn't work quite so well. It does look slightly better in that more natural light, but you can actually see it is a heart pattern that repeats. And then I've just sort of changed the colour in the hearts as they've gone up. So there's three different blues in here: the dark blue, the medium, and the light. And then a slightly variegated grey in the background. So yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun actually. I'm sort of, it's going to be a long-term project. I'm expecting it to be a sort of a pick up, put down thing that I do over the course of a year or two. So I would say watch this space, but it might be a while before it comes back. We'll see. Depends how the mood takes me. So that's that one. I've put all the yarns that I'm going to use. Excuse me, disappearing out of shot again. I've put them all in a big tote. Big sort of storage box, because I did have them in my big bowl, but the problem was the cats thought it was a lovely bed, and I was just forever picking cat fur out. In fact, I'm still picking cat fur out of it. So, but funny enough, they leave this one alone. So just sort of a bit of a peek. You can see just how full this is. This is all plain or very slightly variegated yarn, you know, so the colour is sort of slightly variegated, but it's still essentially the same colour. You can see like that with that green here. So that shouldn't be in here. That's blue and white stripes. I think that's just left over from another project. But generally speaking, these are all sort of plain colours. There seems to be a plethora of sort of neutral colours at the top because they make good background colours, but there's lots of brights in here. You'll be pleased to know I'm not moving away from my brights palette. So that's that. So what else? Oh, right. So now I will show you my sewing project. So, bit of exciting piece of news. I started back at work, which is super exciting because I have not been able to work since March 2020 when I got COVID, and then I got long COVID, and I am now just at the point where I feel able to do a little bit of work. And I know I probably look very bright and energetic and cheerful here, but there is a kind of a payoff, and it's like if I put a lot of energy into something, then I need to rest for quite a long time afterwards. So going back to work has always been something I was really wanting to do, but I had to be physically in the right place to do it. So I decided to take the plunge, and I have gone back to work. At the moment, I am doing one morning a week, and that is plenty because I do my one morning a week and then I go to bed and I have a very long nap after I've finished. I'm very tired afterwards. But I'm loving it. I love my job. I'm very fortunate that I really enjoy my job, and I work with some fantastic people. Who were absolutely lovely, delighted to see me back. So that was really great. So why was I telling you I'd gone back to work? Oh, I know, because one of the things I got is because I'm hybrid working. So sometimes I'm going in and sometimes I'm at home. So they've given me a work laptop, but they didn't have a bag or a sleeve or anything to put it in. And I said, don't worry about it. I have some plans. And I decided that I was going to make myself a sleeve. And I decided that it wasn't going to be a knitted or crocheted sleeve. It was going to be patchwork. Now, my experience with patchwork is basically I made myself a patchwork skirt, which I will show you at some point because I'm really quite pleased with it. It's a lovely rainbow thing. But they're just squares, and I sewed all the squares in a long line, gather them a bit and then sew them to the next one and so on. So it's like a gathered skirt which gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's not really patchwork, it's just kind of bits of material sewn together. So this is my first foray into English paper piecing, and part of what put it in my mind, oops, here we go. That's what I've done so far. Part of what put it in my mind to do was because I went charity shop on a charity shop scrummage with one of my friends, and I came across this amazing box in the charity shop, and I was picking all these things out of this box going, there's no prices on any of these, and then I realised it said £4 for the box, and I am not joking. Oh my goodness, what was in this box? There were half a dozen crochet needles, crochet hooks I should say. There were some Symphony Knit Pro Symphony interchangeable needles, which are the ones I use. That's the set I use. So there was a pair of 3.75mm, which is a size I use a lot. So I was like, oh my goodness. And then there was a few other bits and pieces, and then there was a metal hexagon template, and I just thought it was obviously there for a reason. It was obviously meant to be. So I decided, because working with the metal one means, of course, that it doesn't degrade, so you don't have to worry about making new cardboard ones or anything like that. So I decided I was going to have a go. So basically what I did first is I cut out all the little hexagon shapes out of magazine paper. So as you can see on the back, you can see it's a bit shiny. And then I read somewhere that you punch a little hole in them. You can't see my holes because they're a bit near the edge, but look, you can see I punched a hole in that one. And so when you come to take the paper pieces out, basically you get a cocktail stick or something, or a knitting needle, and you can just pop it out that way. And all the shapes that I've sewn together, you can see I haven't sewn through the paper or anything. You can see there's no stitches on that side. All I've done is just caught them as they're folded over. Do you know, it was an awful lot easier than I expected it to be. I thought I was going to find it really hard. I did make a little bit of a boo-boo. This one, I don't know why. It's got a bit of, it was a bit of a wonky shape, and I didn't realise till I'd sewn about 5 sides, and I was just like, oh well, we'll just sort of fiddle it. So it's a bit weird at the back. I'm really not sure what happened there at all, but otherwise, I'm quite pleased with it. I got carried away. Let me show you. This is how many hexagons I made. This, bear in mind, this is for a laptop sleeve. We're not talking huge, you know. I mean, I've probably got enough here for a lap quilt. I've no idea. I've no idea. But anyway, you can see I sorted them sort of into colours. When I told some friends about what I'm doing, several friends said, oh, I've got some really lovely fabric you could use. I can never say no, can I? Never say no. So somebody's given me a pile of more. So I'm going to have to make some more squares anyway, and more hexagons anyway. So, but what I did think is, as well as the sleeve for the laptop, I also need to carry around the charger, the cable, and also the headphones that I need to wear. So I just thought, well, I probably need to have a second bag anyway. So there we go. It's probably going to end up with a laptop sleeve and bag. So my intentions anyway are to make this big enough to basically wrap around and be the sleeve for the laptop. And then, as far as I understand it, what I do then is, once I've pieced all these together, I flip out the paper bits. I've got a really nice piece of old blanket, old woolen blanket, which I'm going to use for the inside bit, batting, I think. And then I've got an old tablecloth, which I'm going to use for the backing fabric. And then I'm just going to hand quilt it. I'm going to stitch in the ditch round each of the hexagons. So again, this is going to be a slow project, I think, but I'm really enjoying it. And stitching them together, I thought was going to be really hard, but it's actually not too bad. I don't know whether you can see, because it won't focus. I wonder where I need to put it to get it to focus. No, sorry guys. Anyway, I've actually sewn lots of little stitches across there, and if you turn it this way, you can't see them on that side, so they're just literally sewn across the back. So unprofessional. I'm sorry. I'm rocking the camera as well because it's on the table. So anyway, so that's that. And what else can I tell you? Oh, socks. I started these socks last time. I think I've just done I think the top of it. I haven't really got much further. I've turned the heel and I'm now on the toe. But I just love this colour. Isn't it just beautiful? I just love this colour. It is really, really lovely. This is the yarn I'm using. I'm really intrigued about this blue bit in the middle. I don't know whether I'm going to get that far or not when I get to the bottom of the second sock, or whether, so I'm going to end up with a blue toe on one of the socks or something. I'm intrigued. But anyway, yes, it's really nice and I'm really enjoying doing that. So that's my mobile knitting. That usually stays in my backpack, and then I've always got it handy if I find myself with a spare 10 minutes, as I did this morning. And I was like, I'm really glad I had that with me. So that's that. Oh yeah, so speaking of, I went out this morning and I was in a really lovely town, and I happened to have about an hour free. So I decided that I was going to just go and have a wander around the charity shops, because you never know what you might find. And I'm kind of shaking my head at myself, because what did I come home with? Yarn. What do I not need? Yarn. But there we go. I saw a bargain. I couldn't resist. So the first bargain I got, sorry, because it's it's going to be rattling bags now. The first bargain I found was this lovely mohair. It's actually, there we go. Looks quite similar to colour to this. It's just a little shade. It's a shade darker than this. Seem to have got mohair in my head at the moment. So this, I think, is a Stylecraft one. Senses Lace by Stylecraft. Yes, I thought I'd seen Stylecraft on it. So this is a 50-gram ball. It is 80% acrylic and 20% mohair, and it's 250 meters. And I have 5 whole balls of it, and I paid a £5 for them, so £1 a ball. And I was really quite pleased with that. And it's so soft. Mohair can be a little bit scratchy, but this is really, really nice. And I thought to myself, that would be really nice held together with a fingering weight strand of a solid colour. That would, you make a really nice. And I was thinking, I don't know what colour I do it with. Maybe cream or something would be quite nice. Just kind of, get a nice sort of mottledy look or something. I might go for something that's quite high contrast with this. Anyway, next shop I went into, I found this. And I have, actually, I'll hold the bag up actually, look, all of that. So I have 228 grams of this yarn. And it smells good actually, it smells fine. Sometimes you get them, they're a little bit fisty if they've been sort of in somebody's house for a long time. And this is, and actually I think it's there's more here than it looks, because it's actually been wound double. So there's quite a lot there. I haven't quite worked out how many meters I have of this. I've weighed it and I've measured out one small ball, and so I know how many meters it is and how much it weighs. So I need to go and do the maths and then I can work out how much it is. So I don't know whether I've got enough for a jumper or not. I have got 1250 meters of this, which I think is sufficient. It should be sufficient for a jumper quantity, but I don't know whether I have with this, and I don't even know whether I want to put these two together. Not sure. I might do a little swatch and see what it looks like. I'm thinking cream might be better actually. I might do, and I have got a big ball of cream fingering weight, so I might have a bit of an experiment and maybe show you next time. See what other people think as well. Maybe you could let me know in the comments, or in fact, if you've got any ideas of what I could put it with, what colour could I put with this as a fingering weight yarn, a solid fingering weight yarn, to make a nice sweater. I think, bear in mind, I do like bright colours, so, or at least, this to me is subtle. Maybe I'm not very subtle. Right, so anyway, so that's that. That was my bargains for today. And I also found some bargainous dress patterns. I do love a dress. This is kind of my style of dress. Quite like that one as well. And then I picked this one up, which I'm not sure about, but I quite like this. It's got little pin tucks just round the neckline, which I thought was quite sweet. And I like this one as well. I quite like this sort of boat neck style. I think it's quite attractive. So yes, I picked up those patterns. I think I paid £1.50 for each of those. Oh, this, I didn't tell you. All of this yarn, £2. Fantastic. I was really pleased with that. I've no idea what it is. There's no ball bands with it or anything, but it feels like a sock yarn. So wool content, I would think, with that. So what else have I got to tell you? Tomorrow I am going to the East Anglian Yarn Festival at the Norfolk Showground. I am so excited. I'm really looking forward to going. I wasn't planning on buying much, but my lovely partner sent me some money and said, here you go. You need some pennies to spend if you're going to go and have fun at the Yarn Festival. And I was just like, he's a keeper. Isn't he lovely? So I am even more excited now because I actually have money to spend. So I don't know what I'm going to get. I'm just rubbing my hands together in anticipation. But I'm looking forward to seeing people there. I will have my, what do they call it? Content creators badge, I think, or social media person, which kind of makes me laugh because I'm just so amateur. But still, who knows, you might like to listen to all my ramblings about it. So I will try and remember to take some footage when I'm there and talk to you about what I've seen and what I liked, pick out the things that really appealed to me. Sorry, I've got an itchy ear. Yeah, so and then I'll come back and tell you what I found and what I've bought. I'll show you my spoils, my winnings from there. Oh, speaking of winnings, that was completely off. I hadn't even thought about this at all. But Soxy Nana Alice won my the yarn that I was giving away in the time before the last one, I think. So I was giving away some yarn that I decided I wasn't going to use anymore. And it was a lace weight yarn, and so I sent it off to her with in a little bag. And I put the yarn in, I put the pattern in, and I've put a few little bits and pieces of gifts from the UK. So, because Soxy Nana Alice is based in Canada. So if you're listening, Alice, it's on its way to you. Hopefully it'll be with you soon. And I believe it's your birthday today as well. So happy birthday to you. So, and I think that's about it. I don't think I've got anything else to tell you right now. I'm just looking around to see if there's anything else I haven't mentioned. I'll finish this and I'll be like, oh, I never said. Anyway, never mind. So yes, I will see you soon with my spoils from the East Anglian Yarn Festival. I will show you the Driftwood when I need to choose some buttons for my Driftwood, and I think I've got some shell buttons which are very similar colours to these. So I might choose all one colour the same, or I might choose lots of different ones that sort of, you know, to match with this. I shall see what I've got anyway. So yeah, so that'll be nice. And then I've got some baby stuff to knit. I think I've got a couple of babies to knit for. So I might do some baby clothes next, I think, and then obviously on with the scarf. Oh, hopefully I'll pick it up anyway. So and I'll keep going with my patchwork. Right, I'm going to stop rambling, and I will see you again soon. Lovely to see you all again. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and thank you to people who visited who haven't been before. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd love you to subscribe. It's really quick because this is quite a small channel. I get so excited when I see new people have watched it, and if you leave me comments and things, fabulous. It's really lovely to hear from you. It does make such a difference when you're only a little person. Really nice to hear from you. Okay, we'll speak to you again soon. Bye.